What's going on? It's Wednesday.
Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's Wednesday, so this is Waffle on a Wednesday, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. And I'd like to start off by saying thank you for clicking that thumbnail. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it. Now, I've been really busy this week, incredibly busy in fact. I've been modifying my kitchen and I'm really excited to show you what I've been doing. Take a look at this. Now, regular viewers of my channel will notice straight away that this is much bigger than my last kitchen. Now, I've made it slightly deeper so that I can fit my fridge underneath this part of the kitchen unit. Now, part of installing a Dometic fridge is that you leave a gap at the top for ventilation. Now, Rebecca came up with a fantastic idea to fill that gap but still allow ventilation for the fridge. Take a look at this. This is sheer brilliance, it really is. Look at that. I've now got a pull-out induction hob. I'm really looking forward to using this. What a fantastic idea. Now, although this induction hob runs on 240 volts and it can draw up to 2000 watts, you can actually turn the wattage down on this, right down to 300 watts in fact, which makes it perfect for in a camper van. And to power this, I will be using my Jackery 1000, which is underneath my bed. But I haven't really tested it out properly yet, so I will do that in due course. Did you spot the logo on the back of my hoodie? And once again, thank you to Rebecca for getting this sample for me. It is only a sample, and hopefully very soon these will be available in my merchandise store. At the bottom of this video you'll see a banner with all these hoodies and all t-shirts and stuff that Rebecca's been working on, so please do go check that out if you're interested in getting a hoodie like this. I do believe Rebecca is trying to get the logo on, a little logo on the front as well as the back, like this. So once again, thank you Rebecca. Now, talking about samples, I've got something really exciting to show you, and it was sent to me by one of my viewers, somebody just like you. Now, a little while ago I was asked my opinion on collecting rainwater and harvesting that rainwater on the roof of my van and channeling it down into my water tank, and I thought that's a brilliant idea, all but I was a little bit worried about bird droppings and nasty stuff like that getting into my water tank. And also in that same video I showed what I used to purify the water in my tank. I used little chlorine tablets. And as a result of that video, one of you guys got in touch with me and sent me a message. And I'd like to read out this email so that you've got a better understanding of what I'm about to show you. After all, it is a prototype. It is not available on the market just yet. So let me read this out and all will become clear. Hi Mel and Becky, my name is Keith. On one of your recent videos I noticed you add chlorine tablets to your water tank and don't drink the water. Well, this got me thinking, as I work for Triflow Concepts Limited, who specialise in filtered drinking water. Well, by chance my manager has recently announced Triflow are to release a mini tap with a filtration system. Please note this isn't designed for the campervan market, but I think it would work and would love to know your honest feedback. The Triflow Mini Tap will be released in August of 2022 and comes in 3 different colours. Now, since Keith sent me that first message, Keith's manager actually agreed to send me a sample of their mini tap and filtration system. Bearing in mind it is not designed to be used in a camper van. Really honoured that they've chose me to try it out in my camper van to see how it goes, to see how it fares. Especially as it means I will not have to buy bottled water anymore, which has got to be a winner, right? So let me show you this marvel of British engineering. Well, the tap's made in Britain anyway. The filter is made in Switzerland. So whilst I've got this in my hand, let's talk about the filter itself. It's a ceramic filter. It filters out odours and bad taste, including chlorine, organic toxins, bacteria such as E. coli, protozoan cysts such as Gardenia and Cryptosporidium. Ooh, that sounds nasty. I don't want that in my water. Pesticides, herbicides and solvents, heavy metals such as lead and mercury. Nobody wants to drink mercury, right? Iodine and iodine 131. I've never heard of half of this stuff. Who'd have thought that was actually in water? I'm pretty pleased I drink bottled water, to be honest. But anyway, hopefully if this works I won't have to buy bottled water anymore. And the filter is housed in this really nice stainless steel housing, and it is really solid, easy to change as well. You simply twist it and then I've got to be careful because the filter is actually ceramic and I don't want to break it. I don't know how fragile they are. Like that. And that's how easy it is to change the filter. And to hold this in place, it comes with this really nice bracket. My only concern is once you've screwed this bracket to the inside of your kitchen units, the filter housing simply slides on top like that, and that's all that holds it. And if you go over a speed bump or something, this might jump off and be left hanging by the pipes. So for that reason, I'm not actually going to use this bracket. I'm simply going to screw the filter. You can see it's got these 4 holes in it, so I'm going to screw that up directly to underneath my work surface on part of the wooden frame. That way it's going nowhere. So that's the filter. And Keith tells me these filters are so good that they use them in the military for saving water. They actually filter their urine, and yeah, I'm not going to try doing that, by the way. Let's take a look at the tap. And before I show you the tap, let me just remind you of the tap that I used to have in my kitchen before I tore it all out and started to redesign it. So this is the tap that I used to have in my kitchen. As you can see, it's just an outside garden tap. And I rather like this because it does fit with the rustic look of my van. And I've got to say, this tap is going to look a little bit out of place because it is quite posh. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. You've all seen these type of taps, right? But look, have you seen one that does this or does this? And I guess the big question is, will it work in a camper van? I'm tending to think it probably will. Well, I'm going to give it a thorough good testing anyway, because what I'm going to do, rather than having 2 taps, one for just regular water and one for drinking water, I'm just going to install this one single tap. That way all my water from my tank has to go through that filter, and that gives me plenty of time to give it a thorough good testing before it's actually released onto the market. So the big question is, how will it fare in a camper van? I guess time will tell. And once again, I feel really privileged that they've chose me to test this product out. Let's hope the filter can stand all them rattles and vibrations. So I'm going to go ahead, fit this as soon as I can, and then see how it fares on the open road. I just wanted to show you what it looks like before I install it into my kitchen, because once it's installed you won't be able to see this because it'll be underneath my counter and it'll be quite difficult to show you it. So there you go, one filter, one tap, and I do believe they're going to be really reasonably priced as well. They're not going to be that expensive, surprisingly cheap in fact. But Keith hasn't given me a definite price as of yet, but I will put a link to Triflow's website down below where you can go and check out these products yourself as and when they become available on the market. The filter, I do believe, is available already. So if you're interested in getting a filter for your van, then go check out Triflow Concepts Limited. Okay, so let's answer some of your questions. After all, this is supposed to be Waffle on a Wednesday. And our first question comes from Jason Edwards. Hi Mel, just a quick question. We love a quick question. I have 12 volt and 240 volt in my small van, which I plug into the mains to run my van and charge the leisure battery. I was thinking it was a good idea to use a small generator to use instead of a mains if I wanted to go wild camping. On a smaller generator's a lot quieter, as I didn't want to upset anyone with the noise. Love your show, by the way, Jason. Now Jason isn't the only person to make a comment about the noise that generator generated. In fact, it was a lot quieter than it appeared on camera. After all, I do have a really sensitive microphone on this camera, and just to demonstrate how sensitive my microphone is, let me just zoom out a little bit. Oops, wrong way. There you go. You can see I'm quite far away from the camera, and yet my microphone does actually pick up my voice quite well. So when I recorded the video of that generator running, it does actually appear to be noisier than it actually is, due to the fact that my microphone is super sensitive. Whether or not it is noisier than a suitcase generator, I really don't know, because that is the first generator I've ever owned. But a lot of people said to me, I'm sure you could add another silencer to that generator, and that got me thinking, maybe I will add another silencer to that generator. After all, I've got quite a few diesel heater silencers kicking around, so I am actually going to experiment and put a diesel heater silencer onto the silencer of that generator to see if it does make any difference. but that is for another video. Thanks for the great question, Jason, and I'm sure if you brought one of those generators you would be more than happy with it. Maybe consider buying the smaller version if you don't need 2,800 watts. But whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. Hi Mel, just a quickie. I was thinking of getting into metal detecting. Could you recommend a good starter detector? Thanks, Andy R. Well Andy, one of the manufacturers I would recommend is a company called Minelab. They manufacture a whole variety of metal detectors. I have two of their metal detectors, one's an Excalibur and one's an Equinox. But I wouldn't say those metal detectors are suitable for the beginner. However, Minelab do a metal detector called a Go Find. And that is a perfect entry-level metal detector for anybody. And the nice thing about those, because it comes from a reputable manufacturer like Minelab, the resale value is quite high. So if you decide that metal detecting isn't for you, you can always sell your detector on the second-hand market and get most of your money back. And for that reason I recommend any product that Minelab manufacture, because they do hold their value. And I will put a link in the description of this video to a Minelab Go Find just for you and your convenience, so you can go check it out and see what you think. And if you do decide to buy a Minelab Go Find, then I wish you happy hunting and may you find lots of treasure. Thanks for the great question. Hi Mel, just watched your video on insulating your van floor with polystyrene from 2 years ago. Can I ask, would you still do it that way? Or would you use some of these new products that are on the market that offer sound deadening and insulation? Many thanks, Terry H. Well Terry, I would absolutely 100% still use polystyrene to insulate the floor of my van. I see no problem with doing that at all. And as for sound deadening, well, it's a van and it's a camper van. When I drive this van, everything in here rattles and bangs and clangs. I see absolutely no point in using sound deadening material, although some people would probably disagree. But getting back to polystyrene, yes, polystyrene is a fantastic insulator. After all, caravan manufacturers and motorhome manufacturers still use polystyrene to insulate their products, and also polystyrene is used to insulate fridges and freezers. And the best thing about it is it's really cheap, it's readily available, and it is 100% water impermeable. So if you do happen to get any moisture in your walls, polystyrene isn't going to hold on to that moisture, which limits your risk of getting black mold in your walls. In fact, my van, the floor is insulated with polystyrene, and so is the lower part of the walls, because as we all know, sprinters tend to leak from their plastic trimming. So that's why I use polystyrene in the side of my van below the plastic trim line, so that any water that does happen to get in there will run down the polystyrene down into the lower parts of my seals and out of the drain holes like it's supposed to. I see absolutely no problem with using polystyrene as an insulator for your camper van. Thanks for the great question. Hi Mel, great videos. A quick question, are you a coffee or tea guy? And that comes from Detecting Nottingham. Well, Detecting Nottingham, I'm definitely a coffee guy. Speaking of which, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, I will put a link in the description of this video so that you can buy me a coffee, and in return I will send you a sticker. Now, talking about my stickers, there are a few people out there that are actually waiting to receive their stickers, and I do apologise for the delay. I actually run out of stickers, who'd have thought it? But now I have plenty of stickers in stock, so if you are waiting for a sticker, they should be with you by the end of this week. Thank you for the coffee and thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. Now, regular feature of Waffle on the Wednesday is Troll of the Week. And last week we didn't get any trolling comments, but this week it's different. We've actually got a troll in the house. So it's now time for this week's Troll of the Week.
Troll of the Week.
Well, this week's trolling comment was actually left on my personal Facebook account, and I took that quite personally. So I think that gives me every right to read this out. This message was left by Mickey Aldridge, and here it is on my personal Facebook account. And Mickey goes on to say, time to get rid of your house and live full time in your van. Your house is sitting empty, considering you say you live in your van full time, so what's the point of having a house sitting empty? Well, Mickey Aldridge, first of all, you have absolutely no right to tell me what I should and should not do. whether I have a house or not, and it just so happens I don't have a house. This is my home. I live full-time in this camper van. I do not own any property at all, although I do rent a small lock-up for my personal effects that won't fit in my van. But that aside, like I say, you have got no right to tell me what I should and should not do. Congratulations on becoming this week's Troll of the Week. If you'd like one of these t-shirts, they're available in my Spreadshirt shop down below. Now, one of my passions and hobbies, apart from building camper vans and metal detecting, is scuba diving. And it just so happens I've got my scuba diving manual to hand. And as you can see, I'm quite qualified at scuba diving. These are all my courses that I've passed. This isn't a scuba diving qualification. This is actually my Australian driving licence. I'll just keep it in there for safety's sake. But anyway, the next question is all about scuba diving. And this comes from Enzo Adore. Love your channel, Mel. As a fellow scuba diver, do you carry a lot of your gear around with you? If so, what sort of places have you been diving? And do you solo dive? My wife and I are considering taking our gear with us when we travel, but it's pretty heavy. Well, Enzo, you're absolutely right. Scuba diving gear can be quite heavy, especially the tanks and the lead weights you have to carry around with you. And for that reason, I don't actually carry my gear with me all the time. I simply put it in my lockup. But this year, hopefully, I will be combining metal detecting and scuba diving together, and I'll be going off treasure hunting. And I'm really looking forward to doing that and filming it and taking you along with me. Now, in the past, when I've dived abroad, I only ever take my regulators, my BCD, because of that extra baggage and the extra weight. So when I dive abroad, I actually hire my tanks, my weights and my wetsuit. But this year, because I'm sticking to the UK, I will be carrying all my gear with me, weight restrictions permitting. Now, as for solo scuba diving, it's not something I would recommend, although it is something I have done in the past. And when I go diving around the UK, I shall probably do the same, but hopefully I will have Rebecca keeping an eye on me on her supboard. So we'll have Rebecca above the water and me below treasure hunting. And I won't be in very deep water either. I certainly won't go beyond 15 metres of depth on my own. And like I say, I wouldn't recommend anyone else solo dive. Although saying that, Paddy do a solo dive course. And if you are considering going solo diving, I would highly recommend going on that course, because it does teach you about self-preservation and self-rescue. It's a really good course to go on, although you will be hard pressed to find a dive centre that would be willing to take you on that course because of the controversial that surrounds it. And although I am extremely experienced at scuba diving, I'm still going to be a little bit wary about diving on my own. And for that reason, I do use the best equipment that is available and is designed for cold water diving. And that ensures that my first stage and second stage will not freeze up in cold water, which is one of the dangers of scuba diving in cold water, is that your regulator can actually freeze and seize up, which kind of cuts off your air supply, or you go into free flow, which we want to avoid at all costs. Thanks for the great question. I hope you have a fantastic summer, blowing bubbles wherever you may be. Just remember not to take anything, and especially don't leave anything behind. Keep our oceans clean and plastic free. And most importantly, stay safe, look after each other. Thanks for the great question. Now, before we go any further, if you're enjoying this video, then please do let YouTube know by giving this video a thumbs up. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Now, in last week's video, I made a comment about lithium batteries. I said that they were for the rich and famous and not for the likes of poor YouTubers like myself. And Robert Brown says, you suggest that lithium batteries are for the rich and famous, but does that compare to lithium Jackery? Well, there is simply no comparison between a Jackery power pack and a single lithium battery, or any other power pack for that matter, because if you go and buy a lithium battery, that's all you're getting is a battery. But whereas you buy a battery pack like a Jackery, you get the battery, you get the inverter, you get the MPPT solar charge controller, you also get a charge controller that you can plug into 240 volt. And that's why a Jackery power pack is such good value for money, in my opinion anyway. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section of this video. Do you think that these power packs are good value for money, or do you think you're better off just buying a lithium battery and building your own system? I'd be really interested to know your thoughts on this. Thank you for watching this week's Waffle on a Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed it. And once again, if you've got any questions for me, then do leave them in the comment section of this video. Ta-ra for now.